Hello dear students, how are you? I hope you are doing well. So today again we are here with a new science chapter of class 6th, that is motion and measurement of distances. So let's discuss what we are going to study in this chapter. So let's see in this chapter what we'll study and how. So here in this picture you can see a room with dimensions, different dimensions. So if I ask you what is the dimension of this room, you may say yes, this is very small room. Some may say this is big room. But basically if I ask you what is the correct dimension of the room, what is the length of this room, what is the height of this room, what is the width of this room, so you need some specific measurement to measure the room. We cannot say yes, this is small room or this is big room, and that makes the definition for this room dimension. Let's see. So in this picture you can see that two students are moving from their home to school and they are very happy. You are also very happy going to school. So they are moving from home to school. This is basically they are covering some path, they are covering some distance. So basically when I talk about moving from home to school or coming back from school to home, there is some path covered by these students, you children. So what is this? The path that covered is known as distance. So again comes the point, how to measure distance. Let's see. You can see this clip, the morning walk. Basically you also do morning walk. If I ask you how much distance this person has covered during his morning walk, or when you go early in the morning with your parents in the morning walk, how much distance will you cover? So you need some definition or the dimension for this parameter. Yes, this much of the dimension we have covered. So what dimension is this? So that is nothing but the measurement of distance. So let's move further. So now there is something in mind. The ma'am is saying distance, distance again and again. What distance is? So if I ask you what distance? So distance basically is the total path covered from initial to final position. That means if you move from your home to school, so home will be your initial position and you reaches to your school, it means school is your final position. So the total path covered, the total area, the total distance covered is nothing but the distance. So it is the path covered from your home to school or coming back from school to home. If you are following the same path again coming back, that means the distance would be same. Let's move further and further discuss about few more points. How to measure distance? That means what are the parameters of distance? So generally when I talk about yes, I covered 2 distance, so that is something incomplete, or you covered 3 distance, or somebody has covered 10 distance. So it is something incomplete. We need some parameter, that means we need some unit. So if I say yes, my home is different, is 3 kilometer apart from the vegetable market. So this 3 kilometer is basically some magnitude along with the unit. So the complete parameter is required to mention or to measure any physical quantity. The same is with distance. So when I talk about covering a distance, it means it is some path along with some unit. So let us talk about what the parameter is. So in 1970, the French created one special standard unit of measurement that they call as metric system. And this is the metric system that we generally use to measure the distance. That means there are certain specific units to measure the distance. And why this specific unit is required? Because we should be uniform throughout when we are going to measure any particular distance. Right? Let us discuss why it is important. If you go to purchase, or your mom says to go and purchase some milk, so you will ask your mom, how much amount of milk am I supposed to purchase? So you need to mention yes, 1 liter of milk, 2 liter of milk. That means some unit, some parameter is required. Similarly, if your mom says to go to the vegetable market and you purchase 1 kg of tomato. So 1 kg means there is some specific parameter, some unit has been mentioned. That means without unit it is incomplete. If I ask you to go and purchase 2 of milk, what is 2? So there should be some unit, there should be some parameter. And that's why these parameters we need to study, we need to understand. So if I ask you, how wide is this desk? So there are so many ways. In fact, the conventional ways is earlier the gilli or danda. Gilli danda was used to measure the distance for this desk. That means how much gilli danda is allowed or is fit over there to find out the measurement of this desk. But can you say that my desk is 1.5 gilli danda long? This is not the metric system. This is not the worldwide system. This is only the conventional system. You can speak to someone who knows about this gilli danda, who is unaware of the metric system. Similarly, if I tell you to find out the length of this desk and you are using this string to find out, okay, half of the string is the length of this desk or 1.5 of this string is the width of the desk. So that is again incomplete. That means that is not sufficient to measure the width or the length of this desk. That means again, this is one of the very important disadvantage. It is not uniform and we cannot go to the market and say, yes, 1.5 string long desk I want to purchase. So this is somewhat incomplete and the conventional unit. Let's see how other conventional units are there. So this is hand span. So I can measure this desk using my hand span and I say, yes, 3 hand span of mine measures the width of this desk. Is it worthy? If you try to measure this desk, might be it would be 4 because your hand's a little less small. So every person will be having different hand span and thus the value would be different. That means we do not get a uniform measurement for the width of this desk. Let's see few other uniform measurements. So the system of unit now used is known as International System of Unit. And why we are using this? Because all those conventional methods, whether it is hand span, whether it is a cubit is this distance, whether you are using fingers, whether you are using string, all these are the conventional method and it is not uniform, even not accepted worldwide. So there should be some specific system that is being accepted worldwide and we call it as International System of Units or we call it as SI system, System International Units. So for this, if I ask you what is System International for distance? So SI unit for distance is meter. Now we can convert this meter into centimeter or into kilometer. That means we can change this meter unit into the smaller unit or into the bigger unit as per our need. So if I say that 1 meter is 100 centimeter or 1 centimeter is 10 millimeter. So these are the conversions of one unit. But the SI unit for distance is meter. Let's see how. There are some other units, the millimeter unit, centimeter, decimeter, meter, decameter, hectometer, even kilometer. Going upper side of this meter, these units are smaller than meter. Going lower side these units are bigger than meter. That means if we want to do some measurements, like if I ask you what is the distance from Jaipur to Delhi, we cannot measure it in meters because that goes at too large value. So we generally write it is 280 kilometer. Basically what is this? We have converted this meter into kilometer for the sake of our convenience, for easiest to writing. And thus we can convert the meter into the bigger units as per our convenience or into smaller units. Suppose if I ask you what is the length of your pencil lead? So that is very, very small. So you can easily count in centimeters or in millimeter. So depends what type of distance or what type of object we are having, we need to measure, will be having the unit accordingly, and it is very easy to convert one unit into another. Like if we know the relation between meter and decimeter, we can easily convert that unit. If I know the relation between meter and decameter, I can easily convert meter into decameter. So these are nothing but the unit conversion that you will study in bigger classes. Let's move further. So these are some again traditional units to measure distance. Foot span, that means counting foots, that how many foots are required to measure the length of this log of wood. So again I am saying that the person who is having very small feet like you and person who is having bigger feet will be having different measurement. Similarly, this cube, we can measure the same length of that log of wood using this cube also. How many cubes can be rotated or fit to measure the complete length of log of wood? But again, they are the conventional units of measurement. So after cube, again we are having one another possibility that how many fingers you require to measure the length or the distance for particular unit. But all these are conventional systems. And a big and the major disadvantage for this conventional system is they all are non-uniform in size, and thus we do not get the exact value every time. And thus we need to follow some accepted, internationally worldwide accepted units, that is SI units.
To watch the complete video, download the Upbind educational app from Play Store and App Store.